What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host, Josh, and today we are going to look at the Octagon. In CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, it is the third and final round to figure out which teams will go to the World Cup, and I'm going to give you my predictions on it today, who I think is going to make it, who's going to go to the interconfederational playoffs, and a bunch of other things in between. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Sit back, listen, and we will start now. Alright guys, so I guess one little background you guys should know for people who aren't very familiar with the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying process is the fact that the third and final round has now been boosted to 8 teams. It used to be 6, it used to be the hexagon. We've included 2 more, now it's the octagon. The same kind of applies. The 3 top teams in the playoffs will basically make it into the World Cup. The 4th team will go into the interconfederational playoffs. So each team in these 8 teams will play each other home and away. So that'll be a total of 14 games. So it is a grueling schedule, a schedule that is usually done over the course of a year, pumped into 7 months, and there's even more games because there's more teams. So it is going to be absolutely crazy, especially for the Canadian fans out there who, like myself, haven't been able to really watch their national team for quite some time, or they've had to have huge spaces in between the games. This time we'll be able to watch them play 14 games in those 7 months on top of any other friendlies or anything that they do over the course of the year, and I'm excited for it. I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm obviously Canadian, like you guys know, so it is cool, and it's very proud to bring some of this content into the channel as well. So we're going to give you our predictions. We're going to take a look at the top 8 teams who've made it here to the final round. The 2 newbies for a long time, it's the usual 6 sum of teams that's been there, but Canada and El Salvador are the 2 kind of young guns that are coming up or who are looking to stir some waves in it, and I can say one of them probably won't, one of them probably won't, but we're going to start in my predictions from 8 to 1. I'm going to rank them and how I think that they're going to do, who's going to be in the nitty-gritty right around the interconfederational playoffs, and then, of course, who the 3 automatically are going to be in. For those of you guys who don't know, the interconfederational playoffs will play either a country from South America, it's the 5th place team there, from Asia, and usually New Zealand is the other one who makes it in. They usually win theirs. It's one of the 3. I don't know exactly which one it will be right now. Obviously, you're looking to play New Zealand. If New Zealand's a team that comes out of that side, it gives you the best advantage, whoever that 4th place team is. You don't really want to line up with the South American teams. They are obviously very deadly. They're very good at what they do, and made it a lot harder for the North American sides to win. It would probably be like an Ecuador, maybe a Colombia, a Chile. It all depends. And then, of course, the Asian sides can be good too. I think they'd be a little bit closer when it comes to the whatever team finishes 4th in terms of that, but that kind of gives you a background of who they may play, who they may look to move on, but it'll all depend on the time and whether the CONCACAF teams will be favorites or not. But let's start off, let's get right into it and look at the 8th place team in Josh's predictions. So in dead last 8th place, unfortunately, I'm going to put El Salvador. I just think they don't have really the experience. They don't really have the quality to be able to have any type of deep run. I think it's very cool the fact that they made it here. Eric Zavaleta, who plays for TFC, is a player who I'm familiar with, but I mean, other than that, they don't have, I think, what it takes to even have any type of upset. I think they'll have some decent games with maybe like Panama or something like that, but in the grand scheme of things, I think they're gonna be excited that they got here and probably finish in dead last 8th place. Going on to 7th is a team that obviously made it to the last World Cup, a bit of an upset to knock out the Americans. Sorry, Filippo, for bringing back poor memories, but it is Panama. It is Panama. I think Panama is going to finish in 7th place. They were surprise package to make it to the World Cup last time around. They're a decent squad. They still have some players from that 2018 World Cup squad. They just squeaked in here, parking the bus to get in it from the 2nd round, and I don't think that they're going to be the easiest team to face throughout here. They may finish a little bit higher, but looking at the other teams, the way that they're going, I'm going to put Panama in 7th, and unfortunately for them, missing out on the World Cup once again. Going on over to 6th, and I had a huge trouble with 6th and 5th in these 2. I was pondering back and forth. I think they're going to be a little bit close, but I am going to put Honduras. I'm going to say Honduras is in 6th. Again, these are one of the teams that actually did qualify automatically to the final round, to the Octagon. Didn't have to go through that process. It was based off of their FIFA ranking. But when I'm looking at this Honduras squad, they do have some talent. They're one of the teams that consistently does perform and has obviously had a lot of success in making it to the World Cup. But when I'm looking at some of the other teams in the CONCACAF and looking at some of the players that they have and the recruitment they're doing, I just don't think Honduras is quite there. I think that they're going to be a team that's going to be very hard to play. It's going to be tough going there, tough trying to nick points. I think that they could easily potentially be in the 5th to 4th area, but for me, just looking through their squad, there just wasn't enough for me to put them any higher really on the list. But I do think that they could be a wild card in this one, and they are someone to be very, very scared about, especially if you're one of the teams going for that 4th to 3rd spot. But in 5th, I'm going to put Costa Rica. This is the team who obviously has had some successful things at the World Cup, making it to the quarterfinals and getting knocked out on penalties to the Netherlands. In 2018, they had a relatively poor campaign, going 0-1-2, and I just think some of their best hitters are kind of behind them right now. Their team's getting a lot older. It wouldn't surprise me if Costa Rica actually finished a little bit further down the list. Honduras and Costa Rica I was going back and forth with, but I just think that talent that they had, and they had a lot of it, obviously being able to do some successful things, it's kind of dwindling out. I don't think that they're near as strong as they have been. I think this is an old roster, and for those reasons, I am going to put them down into 5th, just missing out on the interconfederational playoffs. And looking at 4th place, looking at the interconfederational playoffs, I am going to put Canada. And I've had some debate about this. I mean, I'm Canadian. I am biased, but there's no way I was going to go around it. When you take a look at this squad and you compare it to the other 7 teams, the Canadians have the 2nd highest value. So in hindsight, the Canadians should technically finish 2nd. I mean, there is still a lot of question marks about this Canadian squad. They have a manager in John Herdman who's an excellent motivator. He's been getting his tactics right in the last little bit. And I'm very curious to see what this test will do, because I think this is really going to show where these Canadians are at, because there is some world-class talent in the likes of Alphonso Davies and one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in CONCACAF, and Jonathan David. Kyle Laren's incredible as well. And they've just been able to do it, and they've looked very convincing through the 1st and 2nd round of playoffs. Like I said, in terms of their squad, it's a much younger squad than Costa Rica. I think it's going to be difficult for them to go to places like Honduras, even Panama, to try to pick up those type of points, given the way that those clubs will be able to play, that how it is in that country. But I do think there's enough in this Canadian squad to be able to push forward. Taking a look at some of the 3 in front of them, Jamaica, U.S., and of course Mexico, there's people who've been here, they've done that, but this Canadian squad on paper should technically be in the top 3, if not top 2, but there's a lot of things that need to go into this squad, and this is going to be a huge accomplishment if they are able to make it into the 4th. And I honestly think that the teams that are below them are going to be the make or break, whether they can pick those 3 big points off of the Panamas, off of the Honduras, off of the Costa Ricas, and maybe nick a point here and there from the 3 above them. But I'm going to put the Canadians in 4th. I think that they have a huge opportunity. They're playing well. This is a moment for Soccer Canada to really move on and take a stab at this, and to be incredible if they can make it to the 2022 World Cup, knowing that they're a guaranteed shoe-in because they're co-hosting it in 2026. But that is why I've snuck them in there in 4th place. For 3rd place, I've put Jamaica. Again, I was going back and forth. I arguably thought Canada did have a decent shot at making it into the top 3, but I think with the Jamaican management, I think with the style of play, some of the good players like Leon Bailey, that is going to be, I think, a dangerous player coming in on probably the right-hand side. They've recruited some defenders as well. Hector's always been a good one there. They got Antonio up front in the striker position. Jamal Lowe's another good one. They've done some really good recruiting with some of the English talent they've brought over. If they can get even a couple more coming in, Nathan Redmond, I believe, was a rumor there. They're going to get Ravel Morrison. They're going to have a lot of depth and a lot of talent that players are used to playing in a similar system kind of in England, and I think that they could really hit the ground running, this Jamaica team. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on them to see if they can do it when it matters, when it comes down to the games against Mexico, the United States, Canada. But it's hard to not overlook them, and I think they have a little bit more spread out talent. Like I said, the market value of the Canadians is higher than Jamaica, it's higher than Mexico, but when it comes to it, it's in a few positions, which is why I think Jamaica's got a little bit more balanced of a team, which is why I think they're going to have a decent run and get into the top 3. But hopefully I'm wrong. Canada snips it from the Jamaicans. But looking at the top 2, we are going to look at Mexico in 2nd. I know Mexico has still got a good squad. They have a good manager. I mean, there are some question marks about him after the Nations League. It's going to be curious to see what he can do in the Gold Cup. They still should have a decent run in it. But he's got talent there. He's got Lozano, maybe in form and potentially healthy. Raul Jimenez up front, who's they've desperately missed, especially watching that game against the United States. They still have a lot of talent. Hector Moreno, who's again coming back from Qatar, he's going to find a nice home back in Mexico. He can be a real leader there. He's not the Hector Moreno that we used to know and enjoy watching, but he's still a version of that and a good leader on the pitch. They have a deep team. They have a good team. Again, with them, I think they are getting a little bit older. These are going to be a lot of games, and it's going to be really see where this team is going to go. It's hard to not back Mexico for one of the top 2 spots, and it's the reason I'm going to back them, because I do think that they can do it. They showed that they can play with the likes of the United States in that incredible Nations League final. But over the games, with the experience that this squad has, there should be no reason that they shouldn't be able to get into at least the top 3. But I'm going to put them in second for my spot, which finally leaves in first the United States. The U.S. men's national team, I'm going to put in first place. I think they proved that they are right now the kings of CONCACAF. They took out the Mexicans in the Nations League final. They have a ton of talent coming up. Looking at their keeper, I mean, Horvath could potentially even bump out Zach Steffen. They have Serginho Dest, experience at their 2 center back positions in Brooks, and of course with McKenzie and a few other options there. Robinson as their left back. They have my boy Gio Reyna, who obviously is going to be someone who's going to be very important for that squad with Christian. I do think that their strikers, their weakest position, whether DK can step up, maybe Matthew Hoppe, Joshua Sargent, who in my opinion is just a little shy of where he needs to be in terms of being able to put the ball in the back of the net. Very good at build-up play, more of a kind of center forward rather than that critical number 9 that you need. And of course, Weston McKennie and some talent in the middle of the park as well. Tyler Adams. They have a very well-rounded team with a lot of their talented players playing in the top big 5s around the world. I think that's a big difference. Like I said, when I was looking at the market values, the United States has the highest market value, followed by the Canadians, but the Canadians comes in certain positions where you look at their center backs and it puts some question marks on them. Sometimes in the middle of the park, depending if Scott Armfield or Atiba Hutchinson can be in there, and it's going to be very interesting. The Canadians have a very good attack. The Mexicans have a very good attack. The Jamaicans have a very good attack. But I think Mexico and Jamaica are a little more well-rounded than the Canadian men's national team is right now. And then again, with Costa Rica, Honduras, Panama, and even El Salvador, when it comes to some of the quality and some of the big hitters around the world, they don't really have them. The from 5th to 8th in my rankings, they don't have them quite anymore. They're not at that level. And I think if the Canadians can show up, if Jamaicans can show up, and those guys can get those points when they desperately need, it'll be a smoother ride than not. But I mean, still don't put it out. I said Honduras is that wild card in my picks. If I'm picking a dark horse to make an upset, even past the Jamaicans, it would be Honduras, considering the way that they line up, the way that it's hard to go to their home and pick up these kind of points. But I am going to tip the United States to go first. I think they have a solid team. Question marks go around their management, seeing how Berhalter is going to be able to line this team up to be able to put a consistent performance throughout 14 games. But that is it. To recap, it's El Salvador in 8th, Panama in 7th, Honduras in 6th, Costa Rica in 5th, Canada in the interconfederational playoffs in 4th, Jamaica 3rd, automatic World Cup spot, Mexico and the United States getting the automatic World Cup spot. And that means the excitement would continue for the Canadians, who have to go through that interconfederational playoffs and play one of 3 potential options, which we don't know and can't really speak on it too much right now, but it'll make it very interesting. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. But just before we go, just to give you guys an idea as to where we are in terms of rankings right now, we're going to get the list for you. It's going to start out with the Mexicans, who are sitting in 11th place right now on the qualifications, followed by the United States, who are in 22nd, which I find is a little fascinating that they're 11 spots behind the Mexicans. I think the States have an opportunity to potentially go in front of them over the next year or so. Costa Rica sits in 46th, Jamaica sits in 48th, and Honduras sits in 62nd, which those top 5 were the top 5 who got automatic qualification to the final round. And then the 3 that had to really fight for it was El Salvador, who was actually in front of Canada, surprise, surprise, in 69th. Canada's in 73rd, and Panama is in 81st. So Panama is technically on ranking the last, with the Canadians sitting in 7th, but I think is incredible. It's not how I'm predicting this to go, but just to give you guys an outside perspective of where they rank right now in the FIFA rankings. So please, guys, let me know what you guys think of my predictions and what you think of your potential predictions. Put them in the comments. Drop a like if you guys could. Please subscribe if you are new. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun watching our national team play this many games. It starts in September. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see you guys all there for watch along streams, previews, and all that fun stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Talk to you guys soon, and take care.